Hello, and good evening, and thank you for joining me. Let me just move some of this stuff out of the way. Let's turn that lathe off, that doesn't have to be on. Forgot it was actually, because I used it earlier. I'll explain why in a minute. Need to find a permanent place to put that. There we go. Right. Right. Move me Phillips Philly shave, because I'm going to have a shave in a bit. So I've got that charged. Yeah, it is full. Yeah, it's full. It charges quick, that. It's lovely. Do you know, I can get that unplugged and out of the way. Do you know, the Philly shave is probably the best product that Philips ever made. It's a really nice product. Right, what we're going to do tonight, right, what I've actually done, I've serviced this motor. It just services the same way any other motor does. It's had a piece of self-amalgamating tape. If I go to, I think for this one we'll have camera 2. Why not, eh? It's as good as any other, isn't it? So we'll just change to I can't see who that is, but good evening anyway. Let's see, give it camera 2, there we go. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, we're still on this little RCA unit. Move that base plate down there, we don't need that up here. Not yet anyway, we might in a minute. Now, what I've actually done, I've serviced this. This is all nice and free. All works correctly. It's ready to go back in, but it won't be going back until the painting's done. If I just move that, there you go, it's nice and free. A drop of oil on it, I've not done it yet. But the motor's been lubricated and that spins down lovely. Really free. Now the only issue I've got with the motor, this has been wound for 240 volts and 50 Hz, but it still has a 60 Hz pulley. The shaft is still 60 Hz. I've redressed the idler. Now the idler feels really nice, the top and the bottom portions, because that portion rides on the motor, that portion there, inner portion rides on the turntable drum, which is that bit there, the inner drum of the turntable. And basically I need to make a sleeve to go over that, or get some sort of conversion spring to go on there, and I think I've got a couple of ideas on that, but I'm not going to worry about that yet, because obviously this is going to be a bit slower than what it needs to be, so it needs to be built up a bit. I'm not going to put tape or heat shrink on it like somebody else did. I'm not going to do that. We do it properly here. Anyway, what we want to look at next is this. Is this, which is the centre spindle, and this is what drops your records. Now what we're going to do, we're going to service this. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'll zoom out a bit. I'll be honest with you, because I am an honest man. Oops, that's the wrong way. I've already serviced this. I've serviced this, but I serviced it off camera. I've not oiled it or anything. I serviced it, and then I thought, well, I should have really done a video of that. And in all honesty, it was a bit of a pain in the ass to put back together. But we're going to do it again anyway, so you lot can see it. For the purpose, I mean, if nothing else on furrow. get the screws out. I mean, the screws are quite long, and I think they go into metal bushings because they are metal screws. They are machine screws, not self-tappers or screws that are designed to go into plastic. So I think there must be some sort of metal. They've either cut metal machine threads into the plastic, or they have, yeah. Now we need to work out something to put this in so we can reassemble it, because that needs to be down at all times. Now what we'll do, we'll take it apart anyway, carefully. Now there's your top. No, they are just machined, but the insides of these do crack, but don't worry about that, they will tighten up. Now what we need to do next is just take this apart, just let it all fall out, because you'll see how it goes back together when it comes to going back together. Take them two out there and pull the spindle with it. There we go. You don't put any grease in there because you don't want it to harden over time. Now basically this is your this is your spindle. You have a circlip on the top here that stops it falling all the way out. That's all that clip does. And this bit here rotates, and that pulls the that pulls the record table in and out, and the separator, as I've discovered it's called, the separators, it pushes them out. It pushes them two separators out, and they sort of interlock. They have to interlock when you put it together. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to put back together, to be honest, but I have to do it so I can show you lot. It has to be done. They have to interlock together. That's it. They interlock together, and you've got two springs which are there. So we'll show you the two springs. We'll bring this a bit nearer. So basically it consists of, move that. So basically it consists of your spindle. You know, you're in a shaft, we'll call it. We'll call it the actuation shaft. How about that? Because I didn't discover what it was called. So we'll call it the actuation shaft. Now, then you've got your springs. Then you've got your record table, which is what your records sit on prior to them dropping. Then you've got your separators, which actually go in to separate the records. They move in, and as them two record tables move in, they move out to separate the records, so the next one gets ready to drop. And then we've got this triangle clip here, which is which I'm going to call your top clip, which goes into those. And that's your top, and that just brings them back in. And then you've got your top that goes onto your spindle here, and that's all it is really. And that's basically the components of your turntable. So what we're going to do next, we're going to find something that we can use that's deep enough. Maybe the lid of this box might do it, so we can reassemble it. And just move these bits over here out of the way, put that way around. I might not get this in one go, but that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect for assembling them. That's perfect because that's dropped it exactly where we want it. Then what we need to do we need our 2 springs, and remember these have got to go in. These have got like a chamfer on them, got like a taper on them, sort of bevel, and they have to go in with the bevel facing down. You put them in the wrong way around, A, it won't go together, and B, you won't get your records back off. So yeah, Steve has very kindly ordered me the replacement rubber tyre to go on the idler. Bit of fluff in there, it's gone now. So what we do next, we put that. Why are you always getting an itchy head or an itchy stomach when you're putting something back together? Right. And that goes in there like that. And these interlock. Like that, and it goes that way in. Remember the humped bits there, the bits that are protruding up go in top ways up. Now this is actually a pain in the arse to put back in. I discovered this last night, but for the purpose of you guys seeing this. Hello Theo. Yeah, you've just joined us at the crucial moment. Now this drops onto there. And I will be honest. Because I'm nothing if not honest. I like to think that. I did actually watch a video of a guy do this because I couldn't find a manual on this, so I watched a video of a guy do it. And he actually said that it was very awkward to do, and he wasn't lying. He was dead right, because they are awkward to do, but you have to just sort of get it all sort of lined up and into place, because you don't want them springs flying out. You lose one of them, then you're really sort of like and there we are, we're in, there we go, one side down. It would help if the other side would just drop it, there we go, and that just drops in, and make sure, whoops, and that's what you don't want. I didn't do that to demonstrate it. I didn't do that to demonstrate that what could go wrong and how it could go wrong. I did that by accident. That was not supposed to happen, but it did. And the one thing you don't want to do is lose your springs. Make sure that they're in the right correct orientation. They are. Right. Right, that's correct. Should we go for it again then? Yeah, this is some fun, isn't it? I mean, watching a guy put one of these together. They look easy, and I suppose they are, but There we go, and we want that to stay like that, because we've now got to get the clip on. And the best way I found, the guy on the video explained to just stretch the clip over, but the best way I found is to do it that way. That's it. Whoops. Whoops. I don't want that. I want that staying. I don't want that popping up. So can I hold that down? Yeah. Get my fingers under that. Now what you want to do is put that on. Make sure the holes are correct, they are. So that it goes into, you can see the horizontal is it horizontal? Yeah, the horizontal line. The horizontal cut wants to go into there. There we go. Right, then we take our screws. Which I think they went in that way. Yep. Let the screw drop in, and don't over tighten these. You just want to nip them up, just so they're snug. There we go. I don't have to hold the bottom of that now, I can, there we go. It's a bit dark down there, but you have to just try and get the light to just catch it. There we are. Just give that one a bit of an extra, make sure we're nipped. But remember they cracked, so you don't want to, and the fellow was saying, the guy I watched, I can't remember his channel, but I can find it again, and he was saying that they actually do crack, but it's gone in there, that's not going to come off. Now we'll test it, and you make sure that you pull it fully down, and what we'll do, we'll put a couple of records on there, and we'll make sure it drops them. Right. One. And these records are a bit tight. 2 and 3. And then just lift them off. Obviously you need 2 hands to do it, and they just lift straight off. Then I'm going to try them the other way up. Turn that, yep. And that one hasn't gone all the way, that's the tight one. There we go. Yeah, that's the tight one, that's it. Yeah, it's a bit off shape, that. Probably needs a slight adjust with the file. And then all we do, we put the top back on that box so we don't lose the screws, but that really comes in handy for standing it in so you can put it back together. Now all we'll do, we'll get the oil. I might as well get the oil, and the way you oil this, the guy was saying there's a little oiling where the screw goes in to lock it in, because this gets locked in with a screw, where the locking screw goes in, that's where you, oh hang on, where the locking screw goes in, that's where you oil it, just there. So what we'll do, we'll just drop, he said 1 or 2 drops, maybe 3 drops he said. So, and I listen to what people say. I'll turn that and that'll move up the bit. We'll give it another couple just to make sure. In fact, there's a bit much gone on there, so we'll call that okay. And we'll wipe off any excess. Just mop it off with the cotton bud. I mean, you could oil it by dropping it down there, but that's the correct place. So that's where we've done it. So what we'll do, we'll hold it upside down, cycle it a couple of times. Yeah, that works absolutely. That's really, really smooth. Yeah, that works perfectly. Let's get that hair out of there. There we go. Yeah, that works perfectly. The separators come out. That's it. The idea is you don't push it up. The separators come out to separate the records. The record table goes in and it drops the record. And that's how it works. Very, very simple, but very, very effective. It's actually not bad. So that's actually serviced. The motor's actually serviced. So that's 2 bits that could fit, in theory, go back on. But what we don't want to do, we'll just put the oil back on top of there. What we don't want to do, really, we don't want to put our nice service components back onto this horrible, scratched up, marked up chassis, do we, base plate. So, you know, we want to clean this. I wish I knew somebody that had that could do blasting. I'd have this blasted, but because I don't, I'll have to just sand it down. And we've got a bit of what's left of one of the grommets on there as well. That'll need to come off. So may as well see if we can do that now, because you can't leave that there because the motor won't sit right. So may as well see if we can do that now. And there we are. There we go. There we go. That's good enough. What I also want to do while I'm here, because I'm a couple of these, I wonder if these, yeah, I'm a couple of these missing. One of them anyway, and I'm wondering if I've got any well, I'm saying I'm wondering if I've got any. I know I have got some. It's just going to take, just got to find it. Any of that studding that I bought for that project that time. See if that'll work. That threaded rod I bought for that project that I did. Well, I just found my gramophone needles. Not that I lost them. I had an idea they were somewhere. Yeah, I have got some of that threaded bar, but I'm not completely sure exactly where I put it. So I know I have got some. They're my twiddling sticks that are in there for radios. Let's have a look in this drawer quickly, because I know I have got some. I know that. I had it in my hand the other day. But the problem is when you have it in your hand the other day, put it down and you think, right, well, I need that. Then when it comes to needing it, you can't remember where the hell you put it. So let's not worry about it now, because we're a long way off from needing that. But what the plan is for that, what the idea is to make another one of these and put it in. These should be metric, because as far as I know the Americans are metric, and they always have been. I think they are anyway. Are the Americans metric? Or do I know they use feet and inches and stuff like that, but yeah, with a rubber thing missing. Oh no, we're not. There's only supposed to be 3. What I'm going to do, I'm also going to put springs on here as well. I'm going to put springs on here so that this can float when it's mounted, so it don't get any vibration or hum. You know, may as well make it as nice as may as well make it work as well as possible. But I'll just get back where I need to be. There we go. But that's it. That's turned out pretty okay, as it needs to be. Put some of the tools away because we don't really need them. Yeah, I'm pleased to announce the record maker has found a new home. That's going to Steve when he comes back from America. That's going to reside at his abode. I'll be nicking me Stanton. I'll be taking me Stanton 500 cartridge, 500A cat. Is it 500A SA or something? I'll be taking me Stanton cartridge back out of it. 500AL. Because that's got to go back into that cartridge carrier that it came out of. So, but I will give him the original that was in the arm. It's up here somewhere. We've got it somewhere. So I will give him the original that I took out, which does work. I think it was a bit too hot for it, to be honest. It needs something a lot calmer. But you know, this is going to have to be cleaned and very lightly sanded, and probably even polished where the copper bits are, because these are copper coated. Why they copper coated them, I'm not entirely sure why that was done. If you can hear a slight rumbling in the background, like a drone, that's me droning noise. That's me dryer drying me clothes. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. There's nowhere to store this apart from just leave it lying around, so what I'm going to shove it back in there. There we go. I'm going to just shove it back in there for now, and I'm going to put one of those cheap Crosley cartridges in it. I think that'll work well. Let's go to, yeah, I don't know whether I've cured my cameras from freezing, but last night they didn't freeze. I'm going to come over to where you are now. I'm going to come over, slide my chair over to the monitor and have a look at the chat, see what we're all discussing. What have we got? Right. Right. Oh, we didn't get any requests for buy requests this week, did we? It was supposed to be Wednesday and nobody sent me anything, so we never did one. Hello Byron. Hello Theo. Yes, it was fairly intricate, and I did watch another video on a guy doing it because I wasn't sure how that came apart. I knew it came apart because it's two different colours and there's a joint, so I knew it came apart, but you can't see the screws. It's very difficult to see the screws, so I watched a video, which is what most of us do. And Simon saying good evening, solder suckers. Absolutely. Good evening to you, Simon. Good evening. I've said good evening to Theo. I'm not sure if they finally did go metric, but I think they were may still be AF. Well, that's okay. I'll just have to find a piece of AF threaded rod. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to. I know plenty of guys who are scrapmen and mechanics and stuff, so right, they're Briggs and Stratton engines. I'll take it you watch Musty One. Yeah, I watch Musty One. I think he's pretty good. Gets most of what he gets working. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Who else is there? Hookham One. I think I pronounced your name right. If I haven't, well, you know who you are. You have a Garrard turntable and the whole thing sort of shudders. Any ideas off the top of your head what the problem might be? Does it shudder when you operate the automatic mechanism? You need to be a bit more specific. In what model is it, and does it shudder when only the automatics are operated, or does it shudder when it plays? If it shudders when it plays, then it could be an uneven idler. Believe it or not, that can cause it, because the springs on, because Garrards are pretty bouncy, so it can cause it. But if it's one of the RC models from the 50s, then they generally do shudder during the operation of the automatics. They do shudder a little bit, and when they drop a record they tend to bounce about a bit, so yeah, be a bit more specific. Yeah, my mate Mick will be able to, I mean, and he'll probably have a piece of that bar. If mine doesn't fit, he'll probably have a piece of that, so oh, you were fixing a Briggs and Stratton lawnmower, right? Well, you should really watch Musty One. He fixes a lot of that stuff. If you're into messing with lawnmowers and small engines. It plays, when it plays it won't play 45s because it judders. Is it because it won't play 45s because it judders? I mean, really it would help if I knew what model it was. I mean, you know, it would help if I knew what model it was. I mean, as far as I'm aware, Garrard only really did one low-end model, and they were the very last ones they did, the very last changes they made. They were fairly low-end, but there again, they were going out of business. They were just you know, they were basically finished by this time, so it didn't really matter. But even the low end changes were better than what a lot of the others were. You know, it's when it, mind you, when it comes to the low end Garrard, it's the first time I could honestly say that a BSR changer was actually better. Right, 60s or 70s, that covers a wide range. You know, it covers a wide range. I'm afraid it's well, it's not. If it was made in Germany, it ain't a Garrard, because Garrards are made in Britain. And as far as I'm aware, they didn't have a manufacturing plant in Germany. They were all made in England. It actually says it on them. Garrards, every one of them, as far as I know. The only ones I know of that came out of Germany were Joule. There might have been some others, but Joule were German. I've got a Joule in a German record player buried in the bedroom. But Garrards were British. They were actually English. It has made in England stamped on them. They were made in Swindon. Was it Swindon? No, not Swindon. Sorry, they were made in Wiltshire. Yeah, Swindon. Yeah. A Lab 42. Yeah, well, that would definitely be made over here. That's not German. Garrards weren't German. They were British. I don't know whether any of them were made in America, but I can't see why Garrard would make a deck in Germany and ship it back over here when they had a place in Wiltshire that was making them. I'm sure it was Wiltshire that were made. Certain of it. I've got the address somewhere. I'd have to check it, but yeah. If it won't play 45s, then it sounds like it's got an uneven idler. Or the other thing to check really is the motor, because the motors, and a lot of them, the motors, the later ones especially, the synchronous motors, if it's a lab one, it'll have a synchronous motor in it. Not all of them did. Joules were made in Germany, yes. I think you need to look at this machine very, very carefully, because I can't give you any advice because we don't know what you've got. 1 minute it's a Garrard, next minute it could be a Joule. So. And Joules I don't know a lot about. I've only ever owned one, and I serviced it, but they all seem to be about the same sort of thing. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, there were no Garrards made in Germany. They all say made in England on them. They don't even say made in Britain. They actually state they're made in England. They're actually made in England, which means they're made not in Wales, not in Scotland, not in Ireland. They're made in England. Oh, don't worry about it. You know, I can't advise you if you can't give me the correct information. You know, it's hello Michael, I hope you're okay, fella. Yeah, it's a bit like going to your doctor, isn't it, and telling him you know, that there's something wrong with you, and then while he's examining you saying, oh no, I don't think it's that, I think it's this. He ain't going to be able to do out, is he? Because you're going to confuse him, which is about how I feel. Anyway, oh, you don't have to apologise. Just, you know, give me the correct information. If anybody wants any information, then give me the correct information. You know, but don't tell me that Gerhards were made in Germany, because that just turns my stomach. Not that I've got anything against Germany, I certainly haven't, but no, they were made here. Some BSRs were made in America. BSR had a manufacturing plant in America. But I don't know whether Gerhard did, I'm not sure. Is there any Americans watching that could perhaps enlighten me on this? And, you know, I can't understand why, because Gerhard is a far better product. Joule is not bad, apart from that big plastic gear wheel on the bottom of them. I've never actually come across one that's been worn, but you know, I do like the Joule product, but I prefer the Gerhard because I know the Gerhards, I know them inside out. I can take them apart on my bench here and put them back together with no problem. Same as the BSRs. The worst thing I ever came across, the worst deck I ever came across, I can't remember if I did a video on it, but it went in the bin. I didn't even save anything. I think all I saved off it was the tone arm wire. It came in an HMV, but it was a I think it was a Bel Air Princess. Bel Air Princess or Belfair Princess. And it was a really horrible thing. It was a real piece of junk. And I didn't even look to see where it was made. It just came straight out of the record player and went in the bin. It had a broken part in it and I couldn't repair it, so and it had been messed with anyway, so it just went straight onto my mate's scrap truck. Well, it went into a tub that I have for him, and then it went straight onto his truck. And I had a Pi black box, one of the 70s Pi black boxes, which had a BSR motorboard in it. I took the motorboard out of that, and I just lopped one side of it off with a jigsaw, nice and straight, or saw straight-ish, and that was a perfect fit. So I put a BSR changer in it. And a girl not far from me's got that, and she must be happy with it because it's never come back. Mind you, my record players don't come back once they've gone because they're done properly. You know, if someone has to keep bringing something back, then there's a problem. But yes, it's I have actually got, and I might, if I can get to it now, I have actually got, you know, and I'm thinking of evicting it. Let me go and get it because I can show you. I've got a nice little, well, I say nice, it is actually nice, and it would be nice if it could be if I could sort it. But there's a part broken in it, and I don't think I'll be able to get the part that I need. Now I need to put this up here out of the way. Now let me just see if I can get onto my shelf and get this thing out, because it would be nice to actually give you a quick look at this. I got this. I got this from a guy who I know. Hang on a minute. I think that fly's got back in again. I think it's been reincarnated. Ugh. Now what we've got here is a Gerhard mini changer. And this is actually quite a nice looking thing. It's dusty and it's got no screws in it, but what the problem is with this, this all works. It all works. Move it to automatic. Move it across to there. There we are, it all works. But the problem it's got is the record size selector switch is busted off. The speed selector's there, but the record size selector is busted off. And it's all complete, this, apart from, well, it could probably need, I'll probably need to do the tone arm wires because they're missing, they're broke. They're damaged, but it's a shame really. Let's pull it out and have a look. There we are. Yeah. And the broken part's not inside here. Now this basically is a model CC10. What do you call it? Your size selector is here. There's your size selector, what's left of it. It went to there, and if I move that out of the way so I can get to it, and I think you can actually, let me just clip these wires. I mean, look how they've been done. I didn't do them, that was how I got it. Let me just clip those wires off, because I would never plug that in like that, because that is disgustingly bad. And it's been codged up on here. What's that rubber stuff? Ooh, what is that? Ooh, somebody's done a bit of a codge up on this. This is not a synchronous motor on this either. So what we'll do, we'll clip that there. We'll clip those there, that there. We won't clip that brown. We'll clip the brown from that side of the switch. There we go. Right, and the problem with this is just that. It's the size selector switch is broken off, and you can't change the record size. I mean, you can't even move it because it's seized, and that's probably how it got broke. Somebody tried the actuators down there, and that's probably how it got broke, by somebody trying to operate it, and it was seized. I mean, I could get them clippers on that, and it's a shame really, because yeah, it's seized. It's a shame really, because it would be nice to use that. I'm not going to throw it. I don't know why the motor's all seized, but there's this gunge on here. I mean, why is this gunge being put all over it? I don't understand that. And what is that gunge, and should I be cautious about it? Ew, don't know what it is. And the motor feels like it's seized. Now, can we get the platter off? Now, getting back to it, just before we do, let's have a look at this. What I'm thinking of doing, I don't think I'll be able to get a little amplifier in there. I might be able to. Might be able to build a little amp into that. What do you think? Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. So we find something small enough that will go in there. But what the point is, that I don't have a plastic lid for this, I don't think. What I'm thinking of doing, I'll come back over in a minute. What I'm thinking of doing, yes, that's not. We all know that's not going to fit like that, because that deck's smaller. But what I'm thinking of doing, because I don't have to make any cutouts, I'm just thinking of putting another board across here, and just basically tidy this up, and just cut the shape of this out that it needs to be, and mount this into it, making that nice little record player out of it. That's the thought. But whether I do that's another matter, but that's certainly a possibility. But yeah, somebody somewhere. I mean, it would be nice to get a switch. It would be nice to get a control lever for that, and perhaps sort that out, but it's probably not gonna happen. But somebody broke the lever because it was seized and they didn't know what they were doing. But that came from a guy who were called Chesterfield Charlie. Yeah, that came from a guy called Chesterfield Charlie. Now what we got here? Right. Hello driver, film shortwave. I think it's the first time we've seen you. Anyway, you're welcome. No worries. And you know, don't know whether you're subscribed. Mind you, I think you have to, don't you, to be able to join the chat. I'm not sure. Yeah, so it'd be nice to put another piece of board over that. Maybe use that plinth. Do something with that. Because that the chances of getting a new control for that mini changer is a bit. It's not. Let's face it, folks. It's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. I mean, not unless one falls into my lap. And I usually repair them, so. I have got another changer in the shed very similar to that, but I think it's a different mechanism. It's a slightly bigger garage than that, but it's a slightly bigger mechanism, I think, and I don't think the switches on it are the same. The controls are not the same, so yeah. At the worst part, I could take the control arm off and I could use it as a manual, take the gear out, and I could use it as a manual. I mean, so it's still of use. It's just not of use of the way it was designed to be, because of the speed change, because of the record size. Record size selector, you can't select it because the switch is the control top of it, because the control that you need to. Yeah, it's missing because it was seized and somebody forced it and broke it, basically. Now if it had come to me before that happened, it wouldn't have happened. It would have been taken apart, cleaned, unseized and sorted out. But the record size selector on them particular mechanisms does seize up and are known for it. Yeah, well that's it. You see, I mean, it's all right seeing the parts on there, but people take the piss. Pardon the language, but they do. They take the piss, and they think because it's old and it's no longer made, it's worth a fortune. Well, not to me, it ain't, because I'd rather throw the record deck in the bin. I'd rather just chuck it on mixed scrap truck than pay exorbitant prices for parts. Don't matter to me. I don't like to see that being done, but you know, if it came to that, then that's what I would do, because I won't pay over the odds. You know, the most I expect to pay for one of those controls to repair that deck is a couple of pounds. And when I say a couple of pounds, I don't mean 3 or 4, and I don't even mean 1, I mean £2, because that's what a couple of pounds means. I'd probably stretch to £3 at the very most, which is a few pounds. I'd probably stretch to, hello Chris, is it? Oh, it's not Chris. Thought it was there for a minute. Thought it was, thought another guy had turned up. It's not. My eye's playing tricks on me. Anyway, with that being said, and there's Michael Jackson again. 301 and 401s are outstanding. No, they're not Michael. they're not outstanding turntables, because all they are is a turntable with a motor. There's no tone arm on them. There's nothing really special about them, apart from the fact they were made for the broadcast industry. Yes, I know a few of them, I know they were available to the private customer, because Garrard would sell them to the BBC and sell them to you. They didn't care as long as they sold them. You know, you'd be surprised what you can buy if you really look round, that you wouldn't think you could. But yeah, those 401s and 301s, they were made for the broadcast industry. That's why they had no arm on them, because the choice of the arm could be left to the person that was using it. But there's nothing outstanding about them, apart from the price, which is shocking that people want for them. I mean, all they are really, they're a turntable with a motor, and there's nothing special about them. I think the Zero's better. At least it's got a damn tone arm on it. If somebody gave me a 301, or if I came across one, all I'd do is service it and sell it, because I don't really want one. I'll be honest, I don't like them. The 401, I don't like them even. I'm not a big fan of them, so you know. But I wouldn't call them outstanding. They are well made. They're made to a very high standard, you know. Because I love all Garrard. I'm a Garrard man. I love all Garrard products, but I just don't see I just can't call a turntable that doesn't come with an arm outstanding. You know, because the arm maketh the turntable. I mean, the most important part of a turntable is the cartridge. It really is, because that's the part that touches the record. Well, the stylus. You know, the stylus and the cartridge is the components that touch the record. So therefore, you know, I mean, you can put a really nice cartridge in a really crap turntable and it'll sound alright. It'll sound just the way that cartridge is designed to sound. I mean, it really will, because I've done it. You know, I've had a really nice cartridge in a BSR turntable and it sounds alright. And it was in an auto changer with a phono preamp put in an Amstrad, and it sounded pretty good. You know, it's you know they're not rubbish. 401s and 301s are not rubbish. They are well made, but they're not. I wouldn't call them outstanding. They're just, you know, I mean they have great big hefty motors on them, and there's a very good reason why they've got big hefty motors on them, is because they've got to start instantly, because they're broadcast units. Yeah, you could buy them, but you know, I can't justify what was it they want for them, about £3,000 for a 301, and a little bit below that for a 401. I couldn't justify it, Michael, honest mate. You know, I just couldn't justify paying that kind of money for a turntable with no arm. I mean, no, BSR isn't at all. You're absolutely wrong. That's coming from the man who doesn't know the difference between Garrard and Yule. Sorry if you're offended by that, but it's true. BSR are certainly not junk. I mean, there's a lot of BSR changes about, and they're still in perfect working order. They've never done enough work to wear out. I don't think you could ever wear them out. They were designed to be rugged and dependable, and that's exactly what they did. They were, and they still are. I like the BSR changes. I've got no problem with them. But, you know, and besides, they were British made. Even the ones made in America, they were still made by a British company, even if they were made in America. BSR were, you know, they, you know, You know, I mean, they took themselves a bit far. I mean, they put precision crafted in England on, in Great Britain on them. They weren't precision. You know, I mean, they weren't, but they were basically designed. You know, they were designed to be cheap. They were never claimed to be expensive. I think the dearest one they ever made, and I've never had one, was the Qantas model, which was a single play turntable. They also did a transcription unit as well. I can't remember the model number of it. I've got the manual for it somewhere, but I get the service manual for it, but I can't remember the model number. It has a load of buttons on it. But no, BSR, they were far from crap. Absolutely. You know, I don't accept that for 1 minute. That they were fit for the dustbin. They certainly weren't. Well, you know, BSR weren't as good as Garrard. And as far as I'm concerned, Garrard was as good as it got. I'd like to get... Yeah, they are very easy to work on. I mean, BSRs, you can pull them apart on the workbench in minutes, clean them up and put them back together in minutes. But the Garrards were a bit more engineered. They were a bit smoother. They operated a bit nicer. They sounded nicer when they were running, when they were operating. And the SP25 was almost a transcription turntable. You know, no comparison on what? Oh, don't tell me that Dual were the best. Please don't tell me that. You know, no, I won't even accept that. Although Dual were good, I don't think they were made terribly well. Although I have got one, and yeah, exactly, Theo. They were good for what they were designed to do. You know, well, you know, there isn't any comparison between BSR and Garrard. Garrard was a better product, but Garrard was a more expensive product as well. But BSR never claimed that they were better. You know, they just didn't. And BSR, you know, BSR can be found, you know, in most of your one valve wonders, your dance sets and stuff like that. You know, but there was one mate that was truly horrible, and people even think they were good, and I can't understand how. I'll get to that in a minute, but well, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. But you know, I just think that the BSR units were good for what they were designed for. There's still plenty of them about. Yeah. Well, that's it. You see, there's not many Duals about, is there? I mean, I've only ever had one, and that's the one I've got now. But that's it. I've only ever had one. I've never had one come in for service. I can't count the one I've got because I own it. That's mine. I bought that off the Mildred. I think I gave him a tenner for it, for the whole record player. And to be honest with you, the record player itself is actually not much cop. I expected more from German engineering, but didn't get it. It's not as nice as what it could have been. The deck's not bad. It is the one I've got is an auto changer, although it doesn't have a control arm like the BSRs or the Garrards, it doesn't have a control arm. It has spikes on the centre spindle that go in to allow the record to drop. I think it's 3 spikes that act as the record table. Goes into and it drops. They retract and the record drops, and then yeah, somehow some arrangement like that. But I haven't got that. That was missing. I've only got the centre, the small centre spindle. But I don't intend to ever use it that way anyway. In fact, to be honest, I don't intend to ever use it really. But it's there. Yeah, lower mass tone arms. Yeah, you know. You're not an audiophile by any chance, are you? You know. Because you're starting to use some real audiophile terms. And I can't do audiophiles. Because they know nothing. You know, what the audiophile is really an obnoxious little man who pays £500 for a lead to plug into a £100 amplifier. You know, thinks it sounds better because he puts a gold-plated fuse into his plug. Yeah, okay. But that being said, everybody's entitled to their opinion, like I said before, but it doesn't mean to say that it has to be accepted. I mean, I'm entitled to my opinion. People disagree with me all the time, they can do that. But, you know, everyone's entitled. But, yeah, low mass tone arm. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't really give a fuck. As long as it drops on the record and it plays it. As long as it plays it and doesn't scratch my record in the process, I don't mind. You know, I don't care how far away my tone arm is away from my record, as long as it plays it. I mean, it's, yeah. You know, a low mass tone arm, all that means is you get less dust cover, because they can make the dust cover thinner. I mean, the Garrard Zero's got a low mass tone arm on it. It's low mass and it's 0 resonance. You don't get any resonance up the arm at all. And it was proved when the model was introduced, when it was revealed at the trade fair back in 1971, I think it was. I would have to check. It was actually proved that the tone arm actually did what Garrard claimed it was capable of doing, and it did it with ease. I am actually planning on running a similar experiment myself to see how it holds up, not against anything made today or anything made in the 80s, you know, because that tone arm can blow all them out of the water because of the design of it, but I want to see if it can still hold up 50 years later to Garrard's claims. You know, to see if it'll still hold up, and I think it will, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. No, the Zero's not an audiophile turntable, it's a very nice turntable. It's a transcription turntable, and nowhere on that turntable does it have the word audiophile. Nowhere in the instructions, and I've got them and read them, does it say audiophile. And I've also got a brochure describing the turntable, the launch brochure describing it. Nowhere does it say audiophile. It's actually a very, very well made transcription turntable, is what it is described as, and that's what it does. I'm not a closeted audiophile. I've got a Garrard Zero connected to a realistic amp, connected to a Pioneer tape deck, which is not a particular high-end one. It does the job. Connected to a cheap Sony tuner, and I think probably the most expensive bit, the most modern bit that's on it is the Technics CD player. And I've got it all connected. I've got the amplifier connected to a pair of Sansu ES50s. I wouldn't say I was an audiophile. I just like nice things. I like it to sound the way I want it to. Well, maybe on your streets, but not on mine. It ain't. But it's. I mean, when people are selling them, mate, I'll be honest with you. When people are selling them, they describe them as audiophile turntables. Yeah, I'll let you have that. I'll agree with you there. I'm not going to get into an argument about it. You know, but yeah, I don't care what the word on the street is. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, in the manual it doesn't say that anything about it being an audiophile turntable. Yeah, yeah, SL 110s. Good evening, Harvey. Yeah, you know, the SL 110's not bad. It's a Japanese turntable, but it's not bad. You know. And yeah, you've got a Shaw for V50. See, Harvey's more of an audiophile than I am. He's got a Shaw cartridge. I've only got an autophon. Mine's only an autophon, and it's a cheap autophon at that. It come out of a project turntable that I bought from a car boot sale for a couple of quid. I only bought the turntable because I wanted the cartridge. You know, but you know, I know. I've got a friend who's got a 301, and he's had it for years, and he loves it. Yeah, I don't blame him. But yeah. So did you read that bit, Harvey? I'm a closeted audiophile. Jesus, what? Hey, it's a good job I don't get me good stuff out like my Armstrong amplifier and whatnot, innit? I'd really go downhill then, wouldn't I? I decided to get that out. Yeah, but the point is though, what's your proper name anyway, Huckman? Or whatever you're calling yourself. You know, I prefer to get people's proper names. It's easier to address them. You know, but no, you know, but there are those that do. There are those that do. They pay more for the cable to plug than what they paid for the amplifier to plug the damn thing into. And I just can't understand why people do that. I mean, when a manufacturer makes a piece of equipment, they give you a cable in the box. That cable they give you in the box is sufficient for that piece of equipment to work. And that's what I don't get. You know, if the cable in the box wasn't good enough, then the manufacturers will provide you with a better one. I've never had a problem with an interconnect cable that's come out of a box with a piece of equipment. In fact, all my stuff has got cheap cables on it. Because as far as I'm concerned, a piece of copper wire is a piece of copper wire. Yes, you are absolutely right. They are called suckers. I do agree. I mean, use it with the cable that come out of the box, because that's what the manufacturer put in the box, because they've optimised that piece of equipment to work with that cable at that length. I mean, I've got cables that probably go around this building about 3 or 4 times, stashed in here somewhere, but I would never use them because you lose the signal. The longer the cable, the longest leads I've got on my system are the leads that connect the speakers, and they're only ordinary. It's only ordinary speaker wire. It's nothing special. I bought a roll of it. I had a fairly big roll of it. I bought from Maplin. I bought the size I needed because of where they were going to go. I mean, ideally, I would like my speakers as close to my amplifier as I could possibly get them, but my amplifier's on one side of the room and my speakers are on the other, so the wires have to run around the room and go into the back of the speakers or into the back of the amplifier. You know, it's, you know, but I'm not really bothered. I mean, unless you're going to put sheer power through them, you're not going to destroy a pair of speaker wires. You know, unless you're going to put stupid power through them, in which case you've probably already blown the speakers. Because there's not many domestic speakers made, honestly, there's not many made that can take a huge amount of power. My Sansuis can only take 80 watts into them, you know, and you know, and that's that's a 12-inch driver. Can only take 80 watts into it. You know, but they don't expect that you're going to put anything higher than that in. I mean, my amplifier, my realistic on paper, I think it's 160 watts. I was looking at the specs and I think it's 160 watts. I can't remember what model the amplifier is, but if you bear with me, I'll just run off and I'll have a look at the service manual and I will tell you, because I've got the service manuals for pretty much everything I own. So if anything breaks, I can fix it. Let me just disappear, I'll be back in a minute. Where's those? I think it's actually in here. There we are, realistic spec sheet. Let me have a look. I'm not going to put this on the screen for you, but it's the model of the amplifier is a SA. It's a realistic SA 2001, and 60 watts per channel. Yeah, I said 160 watts per channel. It's not. It's 120 watts per channel. 120 watts, both channels driven. It's 60 watts per channel. I got that wrong. I do apologise. But yeah, that's the only downside to my amplifier. It's got two phono sockets on it, phono 1 and 2. Because Realistic must have thought that people were going to use two turntables, because they both take a magnetic cartridge, and there's no switch to actually switch it to a ceramic cartridge, which would have been nice. But you know, they allow you to use two turntables if you want. But I don't want to use two turntables. I would have rather had an auxiliary input, an extra auxiliary input, or the choice to flick it to ceramic and then use it as a line level input. I would have rather have had that choice, but they don't give you that. They just, what you get, what they give you is what you're having, and that's it. You know, but at the end of the day, the amplifier was given to me by a very good friend of mine, and so I'm not grumbling because I was really grateful to get it. But yeah, an extra line level would have been nice, because I've got one of my devices, my FreeSat box, that's plugged into my into the tape 2 input. Yeah, probably would. I mean, you know, most wire is copper wire, apart from the odd few wires that you get that are aluminium or something like that. I don't like the thought of aluminium wire, because aluminium breaks very easy. It's very brittle. But I think, oh yeah, what's this? You use a center what? I can't pronounce what you've written there anyway. Use some sort of quad. Yeah, quad with good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so you're using a quad homemade speaker, cables. It's not dirt cheap, but not expensive. Well shielded DFC is all anyone needs, really. Well, my speakers are not shielded, and they sound absolutely fabulous. I mean, the neighbour upstairs doesn't like them. They can certainly cause a thump, but they sound good as well. Right, it's okay. Right, yeah, with you now. Yeah, you know, they sell them in bulk. Yeah, I mean, I just buy speaker wire. I buy it really to do the job it's going to do and go in the place where it needs to go. I mean, my speaker wires have to run. I had to cut a channel out in my floor under my door to run my speaker wires across, because that's the only only route I could go with them. So I had to use thin wire because I didn't want to dig out a great big trench in my front room. Probably made in China, yeah. Yeah, it's probably made in China. Most shit is these days, isn't it? I mean, even the big manufacturers, their stuff's made in China, isn't it? I mean, you look around your house, at the back of everything that's modern, it'll say made in China. I remember, speaking let's have a bit of humour for a minute. I remember back in the 90s when Stephen Hendry started winning everything. There were some people reckoned he was a robot, and that if he dropped his trousers, he had stamped made in Japan on his ass. You have a quad 405 that needs a respray. You wish you knew what colour. I think they were silver, weren't they? Weren't they silver quad 405s? I think they were silver. Most quad stuff was silver, wasn't it? Like a grey silver. Sure they were. Well, just type it in Google, and it will show you a picture of one. You know, it's I love the badge made in Great Britain and made in England as well, Harvey. I do miss it greatly. I mean, like I miss the British backbone. You know, the British backbone was last seen in 1945. It hasn't been seen since. But yes, I do like to see made in Britain. So, like a grey-green, Harvey says, and he's probably right, because he's yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Harvey, like a silvery grey, but you could be right with a greeny grey even. I mean, the way to find that out is to go on Google, isn't it? That's the way to find that out, isn't it? Is to just, give me a second. Quad 400, what did we say it was? Did we say it was a quad 400? Let's have a look. Quad Q A D quad 400. Or was it a 450? It just said it was a 450, didn't it? It doesn't matter if I get it wrong, I can always go back. Yeah, quad 450 for sale. Watch this come with loads of motorbikes. I knew it bloody would. I knew that. Let's go back to here. 405, yeah, I knew it had a 5 in it. 405, let's go back. 405, quad 405, 405, quad 405. amplifier. Is it the 405 or is it the 405-2? Christ, they want 300 quid for them on eBay. I can't see that ever happening, not with me anyway. Right, 405, the quad 405. The quad 405 dumping amplifier. Right, it's a dumping amplifier. Quad 405 for sale. But yeah, they all look. Yeah, it depends on which one you look at, I suppose. They're sort of like a grey colour. Yeah, sort of like a grey colour. Yeah, I'd say they were like a grey colour unless somebody's painted that one. No, I'd put them down as being grey. I'd say they were grey looking at that. If I go to images, it should show a load of images of them. The quad 405, the quad 405-2 has got a couple of knobs on the front. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, the quad 405-2 power amplifier, custom built, see description. Yeah, it's got a great big toroidal transformer in it. It's even showing the insides of that one, and that's probably been modified to hell. And that has got that's actually made by somebody called Breeze Audio, and somebody stuck a sticker on it saying quad. So yeah, and it's got a blue LED in it. Blue LEDs weren't around back then. So, and what are they asking? £315. Yeah, my ass. Right, so let's go to the delete the -2. I mean, quad amplifiers were good. Yeah, quad 405. Yeah, well, they came in 3 different colours, Harvey. From what I can see here, they came in like an off-white, a grey, and a green. So yeah. So you could use any of those colours. I can't remember what your name is. Hook and Moor. Is that it? Yeah. Well, your wife sent the model of the Dual. Apparently it's a GT 15 belt drive, and it shudders. It shudders and won't play 45s, and it's better than a Garrard. Beginning to see this. Yeah. Well, if it shudders, then it's got to be something to do with them. I don't know. It's got to be something to do with the turntable. It's either. You mean the whole deck shudders when it shudders when it's rotating? That's got to be a main bearing problem. What would you say, Harvey, or what would anybody else say? I'd say it's got. If it's not, it's either a bent motor pulley or it could be a bent. No, there won't be any capacitors in that. I mean, don't be daft, Michael. We've already thought of that. Change the capacitors. You know, he's probably already been told that. There won't be any in it apart from maybe one on the switch. Hello, Mark. How are you doing, fella? Hope you're doing fine, Feckle. Right. Anyway, getting back to it. I would say, what happens if you spin the turntable with the belt off? Yeah, if you spin the turntable with the belt off and see if it still shudders. If it does, then I'd think of looking at the bearings. unless of course you've got your cartridge too light. I mean, what does your cartridge weigh? Can you tell me that? You know, what's your play weight? Because I recommend a play weight of anything, and most cartridges, the minimum play weight is the maximum play. Well, sorry, the maximum play weight of most domestic magnetic cartridges, or most magnetic cartridges, is 3 grams. So but a lot of people tend to set them so that if you fart, the arm will blow off the record. I set them at 2 grams. Even when I do repairs, I set the cartridge at 2 grams. They can change it when they get it home, but when they see it working here, it's 2 grams. That's what I set them all at, because I think that's a nice even balance. Because the goal here, you expected a couple of, what are they for your dance set, Mark? The new stylus. Yeah, what you like, Harvey. You know, but when all said and done, I've just checked none of my cameras have decided to freeze up. They've been behaving the last couple of days. No, they're all working. But when all said and done, I think, you know, if you've got your play weight, if you've got your arm too light, then it will jump. Because I find that setting them at 2 grams, I find that the stylus just seems to sit nicely in the groove at 2 grams, and the idea is that the stylus sits in the groove and doesn't move while the record's playing. I've never encountered it, no, but I've never encountered it because my dual doesn't shudder. It's an idler drive one, mine. I think mine's a 2010. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've seen it. I think it's a 2110 or something after, or 2010 or something like that. The one I've got, it's idler drive, rim drive to be correct. But yes, I would say. Well, I generally set them at 2 grams, and if they come into me for repair, they leave it at 2 grams. And whoever owns them, if they want to change them, they can do that. That's what the adjustments are for. But the whole thing shakes. I'd say that's bad bearings, or it's either a bad motor or bad bearings. I'll be honest with you, mate. I've never actually encountered a problem. My dual certainly doesn't shake, and the whole thing shakes. I'd say it's bad. I would say it's bad main bearings. That's what I would say. Whether anybody else has any thoughts on this, I mean, but what I'd be doing, I'd be taking the belt off and spinning the turntable. At roughly playing speed, and see if it shakes then, and switch the motor on with the belt off and see if it shakes, and that's all you can do really. Process of elimination. That's all I would do if it came here. I would just plug it in, switch it on, see what it's doing, and then all I'd do then, I'd just take the belt off and switch the motor on with the belt off, and then I'd turn the turntable by hand, and it's one of them's got to manifest the fault. The fault's going to be in one of them. Also check the motor grommets. Haven't perished. And is it a 240 volt motor? I would think so on a dual, because like I say, they weren't the best, but they weren't rubbish either. So most of them, as far as I know, all of them had a 240 volt motor in them. So are the bearings easily replaceable? If it's a ball race in the middle of the turntable, then yes. If it's a lot of them have a ball bearing in the bottom of the spigot. A lot of them have a ball bearing in the bottom of the spigot, and you have to take the thing apart to get it out. I've got two cheap things here, which are made by a cheap and nasty company called SoundLab, and they've got ball bearings in the bottom of them. But that being said, they are crap. You know, no two ways about it. They are crap, but they actually spin lovely. You know, you can spin. You can take the belt off and spin them. They'll spin forever. They've got really good bearings in them. But there's a ball bearing in the bottom of them. I know that because when I got them, they were seized and I had to take them apart to get them to work because they've not been used for years. But it depends. I'm not sure because I've never actually replaced the bearings in a dual. I think they more than likely use a ball race. If they use a ball race, they're easy enough to replace. My go-to for ball races is either end of life Garrards or end of life BSRs. I tend to just use them if I need to, but you know, if you want to try and pop the bearings out of the cage, out of the cage that they're in, out of the bearing carrier even, give it its correct name. If you want to try and get the individual balls out of the ball bearing carrier and replace them, then you know. But I can't understand why I can't understand why the bearings would even do that. I mean, it's a really funny fault that. I mean, it's a really funny fault, and it comes under the classification as I don't know unless I see it. Apparently it is a Garrard. Are you sure? Made in England. It's a GT15 Garrard. Right, now we're getting there. So let me see, have I got the manual for the GT15 Garrard? I don't think I have. Let me just check the GT15 out, see if I can get the manual for it. Give me 5 minutes. Just chat amongst yourself while I go to Hi-Fi Engine and just have a look, see if the manual's there for it. GT Garrard. Garrard GT500. GT15, sorry, not 500. GT. I've heard of the turntable. GT. Do you know what gets me? Everything you want apart from the one you want. GT15. 1.5. GT15 turntable. Manual. There's a GT20, it'd probably be the same thing. Oh yes. Garrard. Yeah, it's one of those, what do you call it? Oh, it's one of those, what do you call it ones, isn't it? I had two of those, yeah. Yeah, I know the one you mean. It's yeah, it's the same as the GT20. Yeah, and this belt drive. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I haven't got the manual for that. It's a bit. That's one of the fairly modern ones. It's. Yeah, I'm just looking. It's. Yeah. Yeah. Because there's. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a very, very similar thing to garage manuals, hi-fi engine. Oh, here we are. Garage service information. GT15 and GT15P. Oh, here we are. No, it's completely different to the GT15, to the GT20. It's actually completely different. There we go. There's the manual. But will it let me service manual? Will it let me have another service manual, or does it want money for it? I don't know. Garage service manual, basic GT25. I want the GT15. Well, now we know. Let's go to hi-fi engine, see if it's there. See if it's on hi-fi engine. Garage manuals, yeah. That's vintagehifi.com. I want hi-fi engine. I hate it when you get here we are. Vinyl engine, not hi-fi engine, it's vinyl engine I want. There we go. There's the 301 GT15. Let's see if it's in here. Let's see. Idler drive turntable GT. Oh, they're all listed here. GT15. I think the GT15 might be a belt drive. Oh, it is belt drive, isn't it? A belt drive. Yeah, the D20s are. Yeah, all that lot there. They're all direct drive. GT20, GT. They don't have the GT15 listed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the GT20. It'll be the same thing. Oh no, it's not. Oh, it could be. No, it's not. No, it's not. 2-speed belt-driven turntable. 45 and 33. It's a different one. Yeah, it's a different one. And I know I've not got it. Let's double check. I'm not going to hang around all night looking at this, but I'll just have a look. I've not got the. No, it's not listed in here. It's not listed, unfortunately, which is surprising, because most of them are. GT15 service manual. I mean, most places they want to pay. They want to. GT15. It's. Yeah, that's it there, but they want 12 quid. I'm not paying on 12 quid, especially when it's not me that needs the manual. I'm pretty sure that the GT15 is very similar to the GT20. I'm pretty sure they're very, very similar units. I'm pretty sure they're very, very similar units, because I'm just looking here. Garage schematics and brochures. GT15, and I think they let you download these. 4HF, here we are. GT15. Yeah, they did a few direct drive models. I've never seen a few of these. I'll be back in a minute and just. I just want to find. There we are. GT35. They don't do. why can't they just list the one I want? I hate it when GT35. I think the GT15 and the GT20 are pretty much the same affair. I think they're pretty. Let me see if I can find an image I can actually see rather than a black and white thing. Images. Just delete the word manual. Let's go to GT15 images. There's an AP76. I've had a few of those. GT35, that's got a few extra knobs on it. GT20, GT15. Here we are. How work vintage turntable. Yeah, belt. It is belt drive. I'm just trying to get an idea. This might open a video, and it is doing. So, get off! Get off! I don't want it opening a bloody video. GT15 is very similar to. There's images for GT15. There we are. GT15, GT20. There's the GT15. There's a picture of it there. It's basically what that is. It looks like. And get a bigger picture of it. Oh, that's a video as well. Oh, for Christ's sake! Get off! I don't want to watch videos. I want to just look at a good picture of it. Yeah, it's basically. I've never seen one. Certainly never owned one. But I would imagine the tone arm is the same as an SP25, are very similar. It's got a Tekken SP25 head shell, a Mark 6 or Mark 7 head shell, and according to that, it's an auto changer. Yeah, the GT15 belt drive turntable. Yeah, it's that one there. I'm looking at. It's got an auto changer spindle stuck in it, so it must be an auto changer. But there's two versions of it, so one of them might not be. And there it is there. Yeah, it's second. Yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea. Trying to get a decent look at a picture of one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised the whole thing is shutters. It's probably. Yeah, they're auto changes then. Right. Well, I would suspect. I can't. I'm not going through all this trouble trying to find a manual for it, but I would suspect the main bearing or the motor. I would suspect, and the thing to check. Does it make any? Let me come off this web page. Let's come back to you lot. Does it make any? Yeah, well, let's just catch up on it, yeah. No, I wouldn't get a CD player. CD players are crap. I've got a Technics one. I don't even use it. I've only got it because it was free. I got it given. Not a lover of CD players. Besides, you can't see what they're doing, and you have to send them to people like me who have them repaired. I mean, record players, you knew where you stood. Right, but basically, basically it's a The version of the GT15 I found. I'm just checking to make sure I'm looking at the right one, which I think I was. Is an auto changer. Designed to auto change LPs only though. Like there was a version of the 0100S that was designed to do that as well. It was known as the International. I'm just looking to see. Yeah, I would look at the. I would look at the. Yeah, I would look at the main bearing and also look at the motor. Be a 240 volt motor in that, I would have thought. So I would actually look at the motor, because the rotor inside the motor actually does separate, because it's made out of two. It's actually a composite. There's two aluminium pieces, and I think the inner is either steel or copper. So if you've got one of them loose, is there any rattling coming from it? You know, when it runs, does it make any sort of rattling noises? You know, can you tell me that? You know, does it make any? You know, that would be interesting to know, because that would probably help. Does it make any rattling noises when it's running? Can you tell me that? Because if you've got a loose, because the motor, the rotor in the motor is made out of three separate components, unless you count the actual shaft. And you know, if you count, unless you count the shaft, well, it's actually made out of four components. It's made out. You've got the shaft, which I think is steel. You've got, well, it is steel. You've got the shaft, which is steel. The pulley, which is usually brass. You've got the rotor, which is made out of three separate components, and that's made out of two aluminium components, and the centre of that is made out of, I think it's either steel. I think it's steel, but I can't remember. Right. Well, I would turn it on with the belt. The only thing I can suggest is that you switch it on with the belt off. Switch it on with the belt off. Right. Switch it. Right. Switch it. Switch it. I think it's your motor, to be honest with you. I'd put my money on your motor. Switch it on with the belt off and see if it shudders. And because the complaint should still be there. If it's the motor, the complaint should still be there. If it's the motor, the complaint should still be there. Might not be as bad, because remember, it has to remember any vibrations will go through the belt as well. Because the belt directly connects the turntable to the motor. So I would check. I would actually like to get a motor out and actually take one apart and show you. But the problem is I don't actually have one of those motors to hand. But the Garrard motor was pretty much there was a couple of versions of Garrard motors. There was the synchronous versions that were used in SP25 Zeros. Well, the Zero uses a lab version, but it's the same thing, similar thing, just a bit better made. But the SP25s and everything pretty much around that sort of quality point used a synchronous motor. The auto changers, the cheaper auto changers tended not to. They just used an ordinary shaded pole motor. I mean, they're all shaded pole, but the better motors were synchronous. But I could show you what I'm talking about, you see, about the components of the motor. If I had one to hand, I've got some in the drawer there, but I can't get to them. I don't think I can. Let me just have a quick look. I might be able to get one out. See if I can get to them. Let's have a look. Because I know I've got some. Because I never throw. I can't remember if they're in this drawer. I can feel something there. It would help if I could. Because what's in this tub? Capacitors. No, I don't think they're in here. I know I have got some though. No, they're not in there. They must be in the next one. I know I can't get in that next drawer because there's a load of stuff in front of it. So that I know I can't get into that. But let's just make sure I don't trap anything. I'll shut the drawer. Especially my fingers. That'll do. That's as far as it needs to go. Right, but I would change. I would look at the motor to see if the rotor is separated, the two aluminium bits. It's usually the top one that separates, and if it does, you have to take the motor apart and super glue it back on, super glue it back in place. And Michael Jackson, hang on, I'll give that thing to. Yeah, you'd give it to me for my channel if I lived in the United States. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Oh, you're in the US. Well, not wrong with that. I don't have a problem with Americans, not at all. It's nice to have you aboard, and you know. But yeah, give that a go. Yeah, so yours will be a 120. Yours will be a 120 volts because you use baby electricity over there, don't you? Just kidding. Yeah, you use 1 to 120, 110 or 120 volts over there, where we're 240. But Garrards were usually made so you could change them. On the bottom of them, there's usually a tap on the bottom of them. But yeah. I don't live in the United States, but whereabouts are you in the United States? Because I've got a friend who's going to the United States. Whether he could sneak it in his suitcase on his way back, I don't know. But if you're anywhere near Iowa, because I've got a friend who's going to Iowa in a couple of weeks. Yeah. But I would certainly do a video on it if I could get it. I would certainly do a video on it. You know, absolutely. But yeah, yeah, I'd forgotten all about that, Mark. The RG65 radiogram in the new year. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, and there's that Garrard deck to come, isn't there? Yeah, that'd be nice to get that, do a video, see if we can restore that. Oh, you're in Michigan, right. No, I didn't think you'd forgotten. I had though. I'd forgotten all about it. I mean, but I usually get reminded when somebody says they're going to drop it in. I usually get reminded that I know there's something coming in. We get that done. It won't take us long. Do a video on it and everything. I've got a Philips. I've actually got a Philips CD player that Mildred found in the street, and it actually works. It's got a Philips. It uses the same laser that all them, because all them Marantz CD players, they were all made by Philips. Because Marantz was owned by Philips at the time. It's known in the trade as Posh Philips, Marantz. And they all used, most of them anyway, used the CDM2s, CDM4s or CDM12 lasers in them. CDM4s are very hard to get. People with jukeboxes love them because they work in the jukeboxes, or the jukeboxes that use. Yeah, that's very true. That, yeah, and not only that, if you sent it here, if I paid for the shipping and you sent it to me, our government, our Boris, would bite me on the arse for import duty. Even if it's a gift, they'd still bite me on the arse for import duty because our government are twats. And they love ripping us British people off, and they like having Christmas parties when we're told we can't do nothing. They like to have a party, and ultimately they get found out about it, and they're currently being hauled over the coals. Yeah, I remember Richer Sounds, they're still there. There's one in Stockport, and it's gone dead dear in there, man. I don't think it was that cheap in there to begin with. But, I mean, I've never really got on with CD players. And Boris is a knob, yeah, we know that. He wants to buy an airbrush, the scruffy bastard. Pardon my language, but he does. We know he's a knob. I mean, but let me tell you this: he never got my vote. I voted for the opposition, and I always vote for the opposition because I can't stand Conservatives. I'm not into them. They're all for themselves. But then again, any politician is. I mean, look at that idiot you've got in at the moment. That fucking what's his face. Joe Biden, he's another cocksucker. He looks like he's got one foot in a wooden box and the other one on a banana skin, the old fucker, doesn't he? Looks like he should drop dead. But that being said, that's enough politics, because I don't discuss politics on here if I can avoid it. But I think what we need to do, I'm going to make a move actually. Look at the time, Jesus. I only came on for 5 minutes just to strip that thing down and put it back together for you lot. Anyway, listen folks, I'm going to leave it there because it's getting on. And there's other things I want to do before I go to bed. And I shall catch you all. I shall catch you all later, folks. You all take it easy. And remember, share. Remember, like, subscribe, and share. And also, try those things I've suggested for your turntable, and see if it works. Yeah, the process. You were a fan of Corbyn, right? I'm not a lover of any politician. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. I think we should be allowed to shoot the fuckers on sight, really. Jeremy Corbyn? Oh no. Well, if you like him that much, you can have him. He can come on, go over and he can go and rule your country. He can go and rule America. If you like Jeremy Corbyn that much, oh no. Ugh. I mean, anyway, I'm going to leave it there, folks. And you all take it easy. And like I say, share, like, subscribe and share. And join me in the next one, whatever that might be. Bye for now, folks.